popular opinion has fallen off a little bit on who the strongest legend in the game is, and that's a reflection of the meta. A lot of people are thinking boots, a lot of people are thinking spear, a lot of people are thinking katars. Mordex is none of those things.
Yeah, I mean, he's got feet, but definitely no boots on top of them. I think he's actually like straight up barefoot. Check out his wiki feet. But on the other side, Stingray is getting pieced up by the Scythe, but manages to get back safely.
Now, Stingray is starting this one off with the axe that he didn't have too much success with. He had some, but it wasn't consistent enough for him to stay on the Bryn against his previous opponents. So you see him swapping pretty quickly over to the spear. Luna getting some work done, setting up this edge guard, that down air, and the weapon toss. It interrupted the recovery. Probably didn't need the weapon toss at the end of the day, but he had it there just in case in order to confirm, because he knew he would get weapon spawns on the stage and be able to go over onto his gauntlets, his weapon of choice here to start this next stock off.
You saw him kind of take a page out of the Meg D book, outspacing those side airs of Stingray on that spear. And then once Stingray dipped low enough, he was like, all right, now's my positioning. I can go in with that 45 that Scythe's so good about and hit that down air to deny the wall touch. But Stingray does find the axe KO.
Back over to the spear. Luna's going to be spawning in. There is a weapon spawn. Luna took so long to grab it because when you pick up that weapon, your iframes are going to end. So he was worried about taking a hit immediately upon picking up that weapon. And he knew he had a little bit of time to use the iframes so he could pick the perfect opportunity to grab it. That's going to be a punish. Nice side air into the neutral light. Luna over on the corner. He has the potential for a gigantic lead. He already has a pretty big one that bounced off the stage. Probably not what he wants. Recovery back to the stage. Probably just to touch the wall. That ends up taking out that neutral light into the side air.
Yeah, the side air will KO for Luna, and he wants to stick with the Scythe. That's generally been the MO of the Mordexes out there, is like they just really want to play the Scythe, and then Gauntlets can be that consistent backup tool if they need it. But a nice wake up from Stingray keeps Luna from getting too much momentum.
That Scythe skin goes crazy. Like, that Scythe skin looks like a weapon. The other one, I love the pretty, like, autumn one with the little, like, lantern on top. It's beautiful. But, like, that Scythe, that be looking like a weapon.
Yeah, sometimes you want just, like, that, the weapon that looks like it hurts a little extra. Nope, nice gravity cancel sidelight, though. Doesn't get anything with that weapon toss. Side sig gonna get punished from Stingray. Nice double nair, but those nairs will not KO for Stingray.
Luna with a huge lead, just a little bit under a full stock. D-Light side air. Stingray very much in the red, has his choice of weapons. Almost was afraid that he wasn't going to get to pick up that spear before it was deactivated and despawned after it hit that little bounce off the soft platform. Luna able to grab the Scythe. Shouldn't take too much for him to end this stock unless Stingray finds something absolutely massive. There's the down air. No weapon toss because there's not one on the field for him to pick up immediately.
Downlight doesn't go for the forward kick there. Instead, wanted to get the read for the KO. The forward kick would have had more variable force, but maybe just because of the positioning, because they're a little bit on the right side, didn't want to risk that potential of just like launching them and then having to reset again.
And you see on the screen in front of you a pretty decent split. Of course, it was Scythe heavily favored, 317 damage to the 212 on the gauntlets, but still a solid amount of damage on the gauntlets coming out. So it's not like if Stingray forces Luna onto the gauntlets, he's going to be without a paddle there.
Yeah, he can swim, he can float, he can ride his boat in all sorts of different situations. But right now we're seeing some wide variety in the map.
Zol? Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We love to see the Zol pick from Stingray.
Tell me about it.
This is something I was hoping we were going to get to see today. Of course, after the recent cannon buffs, I just looked, he's looking so big, look big. That's a big boy. Dude, how is that axe so big?
Goes so far.
That's not a real, that's a great axe. What is he doing with that? That's the Buster Sword of axes right there. Oh my goodness on that screen behind us. But I wanted to see the possibility of the Zol. Okay, maybe I was wrong. I'm sorry,
I don't think you'll see that possibility.
I misguided you. This one's on me. I do like a Zol pick right now. I'm really loving the destructive force of Cannon when Cannon players use it really well. I like Stingray's Zol as well. He was using that much more in the beginning stages of 2022 than we saw him using it towards the end. So I don't know how practiced he is specifically currently, and the way you're playing against the way other players are playing currently compared to some of the more legends he's been playing recently.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's still a character with an axe, which, like, we have not seen that much from Stingray. Even in the last game where he was on the Bryn, didn't see that much. He gets a side air every now and then. He'll get that KO. But for the most part, like, I would have rather him go for something spear heavy or just cannon and anything else.
I definitely, if I like a Zol pick, but really I like you to be a Zol player that does like 99% of your damage on cannon. I like a cannon Zol player because I still am not confident on where Axe is fitting into the meta, especially with fast-moving weapons or sort of like mid-moving weapons if we're talking about Spear. It's not as quick as Katars, but it's not as slow as an Axe.
Well, right now, at the very least, he's swinging big. He's got the most strength in the game, so he's hitting pretty hard. He's actually beating out Luna right now in that damage department. Luna gets in, gets a sidelight, but doesn't get the movement.
I'm actually really liking a Zol pick on this stage as well, because you saw him use the neutral signature earlier, even when that soft platform moves up a little bit to sort of that like Miami Dome height versus the down version, which is closer to a Crystal Temple. I like the coverage that the neutral sig has on that. It's able to reach up high enough while still putting enough distance between the user and the person on the platform, their target.
Yeah, there aren't that many signatures that will cover both heights of those platforms, but Stingray does find that side air, and he is 100% sticking with this Axe for now. Maybe, again, recognizing that he is quite damaged and the next weapon will be the cannon. He might be playing unarmed for a hot minute here, and yeah, doesn't even look towards that weapon spawn.
Okay, Shades of Fiend. He's going on top of the weapon spawn. Like, I definitely don't need it, except he's not SpongeBob. He actually doesn't need it here.
I don't need it. He might be thirsty, but he doesn't need it. I mean, even the fact of the matter is, like, despite the fact that he doesn't have any boots on, he's still kicking.
Why is he running around unarmed like he's Fiend playing Hattori? Brother, you're playing Zol, man, and he's making it work. Who is this guy?
Got to 3 exclamation points, didn't even matter. Still putting out hitboxes. He is kicking up. Luna, the recovery, finally gets a KO, but look at Luna's health in the top right.
This, like, the way Stingray is playing and the lead he has with that unarmed section that we just saw, it really felt almost like a Devstream exhibition match. Not that he was, like, wiping the floor with Luna, but the way he seemed confident, the way he was styling on Luna with the unarmed kit. Maybe he just, it was the same thing that we saw previously. I can't remember who it was, but he was just going to fight unarmed until he got knocked out, so he got the weepon that he wanted upon next pickup. Oh, it was Stingray?
Yeah,
oh, okay, yeah.
That's just a Stingray thing to do.
It's the same guy. It's literally the same guy.
That's just his thing, is he's very cognizant of his next weapon spawn, and he wants to make sure, oh, I'm deep red. I'd rather just play unarmed, get whatever damage I can, and then worry about that respawn weapon. And it's working really well because even when he is unarmed, he's still putting out the damage. I didn't quite catch it. What was it?
The damage split between the 3 weapons is he did 349 on Axe. That's not a surprise. He did 64 on Cannon. We didn't see very much of it, so that's not a surprise either. But he did 175 damage unarmed.
That's a stock.
That is essentially a stock. If you end that with a D-Light Gravity Cancel neutral heavy on something like a lower ceiling map like Brawlhalla, that quite literally is a stock, and he was doing it so well. That tactic, we don't see that tactic very often, and when we do see it, it's rarely like that good. It'll be like Tazza mentioned it yesterday. We talk about it all the time, like Koslix, who, if he's playing like a Scarlet, he'll pick up the hammer when he's deep in the red. He'll do what he can. He'll try and swing it, but then he'll get knocked out, usually pretty quickly. But the way that he was able to extend that, all of that damage coming from the unarmed kit, showing that his unarmed is a threat as well, that was spectacular.
Yeah, I mean, he's putting out unarmed damage on his cannon, and he's putting out cannon damage on his unarmed. But right now, it's all about that Axe, which has been working so well for him. It worked incredibly well in the last one. It's still something that, like, we were kind of critical about because at the end of the day, we don't really know where Axe fits in the meta, but it's fitting in Luna's face right now.
Yeah, I'm not sure with the way that Stingray is using this Axe, whether it is Axe has a more solidified and confident place in the meta than I previously thought, or if this is like a specifically Stingray thing. And if other Axe players picked it up and tried to do it, they would not be as successful. There we see beautiful neutral light. That gets the dodge. Goes in with the nair. Doesn't quite place it perfectly. Not sure if it was just kind of throwing out there when he could and then turn around and hit the Axe recovery like he did, or if he just happened to miss that down air a little bit too early. Either way, he got the stock, has the weapon he wants.
Yeah, Stingray is chunking. He's getting that damage. Luna is not finding any of the dodge reads that he wanted earlier on. This is looking so incredibly good for Stingray right now.
This has got to be really tough on the other side for Luna because we know he was disappointed by his BCX placement. So between then and now, you know, he's been like, okay, I'm going to show up. I'm going to do work at Winter Championship. I'm going to win that one, and that'll be my return to being the top guy in North America. The potential is still there, not only in this set, but also in this tournament because there is the elimination side of the bracket. But Stingray is wanting to send him down there nice and early. He wants to take this to a Game 4 after he grabs the 2-1 on this set.
I I mean, he's definitely poised to do so, has built up a lot of damage on Luna. At the end of the day, it's still a Mordex. It's still Scythe play. It's still got that potential to steal stocks, but he needs to shove Stingray into the offstage. And right now, Stingray in the Unarmed is looking like a threat.
So I love those 3 hits, or those 3 engagements that Stingray just did. You saw the GC, or you saw the D-Light into the GC neutral heavy, which he actually didn't hit. But he did that because you saw the recovery coming right after that. That didn't have enough KO. That's why he went for the neutral heavy, the more risky option. Then later on, he felt like he had enough damage to knock out with the D-Light into the recovery, so he didn't want to risk missing the neutral heavy like he did previously. So really incredible choice on which actual finishing move he wanted to go for, even though he happened to drop the D-Light in the GC neutral heavy.
Great recognition of the situations. Luna, though, needs to find a new situation. Stingray, again, sticking with the axe. Neutral Light connects, gonna launch Stingray. Not gonna lead to much, though.
The gauntlets seem to be at quite a bit of a loss here for Luna to find his way in. There's the neutral light over on the edge, not going to KO. Gauntlet players screaming in pain, all in unison right now. It's like 1,000 voices, or probably more than that. It's probably like 1,000,000 voices screamed out in unison. But they weren't silenced. They're probably still screaming.
Yeah, probably still screaming, and definitely Luna screaming a little bit here as there's 1 stock left to determine who's going to have the lead going into these final moments here. All right, Scythe opportunity, catches the dodge, wants to keep the pressure going. There's the dare. Doesn't hit the downlight. Stingray gets back with the help of a chase dodge.
That 360 recovery from Axe, keeping Stingray in this one. But this is the explosive potential. That edge guard over on the right, it took a little while, but it was that explosive potential. Oh, dodge is gone. Okay, it's probably, yeah, it's definitely going to be back now, but now it's burned. He's got to be careful. Neutral light, if he picks it up in the right spot, that's going to be a KO for Stingray on that Axe neutral light. Luna being very careful.
Got to be careful about that neutral light. Got to be careful about those side airs as well. Luna throws away the Scythe, picks up another one. The side air doesn't connect. Neutral light thrown out, disarmed.
He's going to be on gauntlets, though.
Stingray's got so much potential with his unarmed as well.
Oh! Stingray with the instant unarmed recovery to take off the top. It is going to be a 2-1 now in favor of Stingray. We're still seeing the numbers heavily favoring the Axe. And man, like I don't want to second guess the Zol pick whatsoever. It's just interesting that if you're going like he's playing Axe. There are other Axe legends out there because he's not playing canon. He's not really using too many of the Axe signatures, but man, his Zol Axe is looking magnificent.
High strength Axe. He is getting so much value off individual hits, and Luna on the other side is not getting the multiple hits that he wants to kind of convert into equivalent damage. And that's where Luna is starting to struggle and where we might see him make a swap to something different. Of course, we've seen the Mordex for this set, but he could go over back to the Caspian, back to the Lucian, or maybe even back to the Taros.
Now, if we are looking at the damage numbers from last game, that's where the inefficiency is going to punish Stingray at the end of the day. Even though he still got the victory there, he had to put out 676 damage. Almost 700 damage. Let me do some quick math in my head. That's like 280. That's like, I'm just going to say it's 230. Oh, it's a little bit less than that. 225. Roughly. Something like that. Yeah, it's 225. I don't know. I had trouble with that. That's easy math. 225 per stock when you're playing Axe, which KOs earlier than your average weapon. Also has Zol, higher strength than your average legend. So it is taking him a little bit of time to get that. If he does that against other players, he might end up struggling deeper in the bracket. But we also could just see him notice that and then go to a different option as this legend. We were talking about his legend pool over on the pre-show earlier this morning. So he has deep pockets to pull from.
He's definitely got a lot of options, even if we wanted to just maintain the Axe. Of course, we've seen the Bryn, but there's been a lot of conversation about that potential Ragnar to come out. Again, Katars are kind of popular in the meta right now, and the only person who's really finding anything functional with the Axe right now is Stingray. So maybe he could bring out that Ragnar. After
seeing this Axe right here, I don't know how current of a legend Ragnar is. Virtually nobody else is playing Ragnar when we see like the other more, maybe modern legends that have like active input on their normal weapon kit, or they have active input on their signatures, or they have those more like interesting, these signatures interact with a wall in this certain way, things that Ragnar doesn't have, which is probably why we haven't seen Ragnar played in a while. If Stingray swapped to Ragnar now, brother, I don't care. This Axe is incredible. he can play any Axe Legend he wants to, from the best one in the game to the worst one in the game, and I have no qualms whatsoever about that. His Axe is looking tremendous.
Well, Luna hoping that sticking with the Tai Lung is going to be the solution to Zol's Axe from Stingray, because there are no swaps and no more opportunities for Luna. This is game number 4. If Luna loses this, it's going to be Stingray going into the top 3 to fight Radish.
First weapon pickup is kind of both players' weaker weapons. It's going to be the gauntlets from Luna and the cannon from Stingray. Okay. That's the first, like, I feel like that probably did as much damage total as we saw from Cannon last game, which was 65 damage total last game. Yeah, he's already done that now that he has Luna in the orange.
Yeah, he's definitely done more damage in this game with the cannon than he has in the past. But it's back to the Axe. The neutral light not quite enough, but he's still getting some great damage over to the cannon, throws it away. Still maintaining that weapon control. The side air. Luna is struggling now.
The way Stingray is starting this one off, it's going to be really tough for Luna to come back. He has weapons that give him that potential, something that we were talking about that Sandstorm with the Arcadia might not necessarily have, given that his greatsword really wasn't working at the end. So those explosive options from the gauntlets, from the Scythe as well. You saw how quickly he made work of that stock. Luna's first stock probably went down in 30 seconds, and I think Stingray was like at the beginning stages of orange. All of a sudden, 30 seconds later, Luna gets the reverse KO onto Stingray.
Oh, and he's keeping it going. Kept him in the open air, but Stingray did get past. He's back to the Axe. Sidelight does beat out the startup. Neutral light catching Stingray. He's getting these hits in.
One thing you're seeing Luna do a lot of is fading back the other direction. Like, he'll throw out that neutral air, but you know he's holding the opposite direction of Stingray, so he can sort of fade away in case Stingray tries to come in with an axe side air to punish or anything like that, so he can get out of the effective range of Stingray, using that drift in the air as much as he possibly can.
Sidelight.
Nice.
That was a burn dodge from Stingray, so we can go into the side air. Doesn't hit the sidelight. Stingray's still living. Over to the gauntlets. Neutral light, not going to KO. Likely going to need to hit a recovery or a side air here. Doesn't hit the recovery. Maybe a ground pound.
He's playing deep on the wall. He's playing, if that ground pound came out like you said, he wanted to play as deep on that wall as he could so that he has as much time as possible in order to react to it. D-light into the neutral air, the classic KO combo.
And he's sticking with the cannon. This is a deep red Stingray. That means he's going to either be playing cannon or unarmed until he respawns. Luna needs to finish the stock off. Don't let Stingray get too much extra credit here. This is his winner bracket stock right now.
Nice
Side
dodge
air?
through that side light over the corner. That got Stingray back on the stage, but he wasn't there for long. Luna evening this one up. This is one of the more even games we've seen. Now, one game did end last stock red between these two players. Stingray has the axe. The next weapon for Luna, he's going to be looking for it. It's a cannon for Stingray, though. Luna the one, he's fighting unarmed.
Denying those weapons. There's the weapon spawn over to the Scythe. Cannon in hand for Stingray. We haven't seen that much cannon come out from him. That doesn't mean he doesn't have one. Neutral light, neutral air.
Based on what we've seen so far, though, I would give the edge to Luna. Their health is essentially the same between these two, but it's Luna's stronger weapon against Stingray's weaker weapon until he picks up the axe, almost immediately when it landed on that soft platform.
The neutral light lands, puts Luna off stage, burns a lot of movement, getting that soft platform, doesn't hit the neutral light. He's starting to take damage here. Side light, side air, puts Stingray off stage. Can he convert this to a KO? The recovery.
Ooh, that went high.
Movement.
Yo,
Doesn't hit it!
Luna, and he's done from that right there. Wow. He went for the ground pound.
That's twice. That's twice. He goes for the gravity cancel downlight, chase dodge ground pound, and doesn't hit it and lets Stingray turn that around. He had the pressure. He had the position. He just needed to get that ground pound, but the pressure was a little too much, and he doesn't hit it. And Stingray gets the KO. He gets the 3-1. He's going to the winner's final to fight Radish.
That's so tough to watch because I really like the weapon toss he did right before that. He threw that weapon toss high in case Stingray wanted to queue up that axe recovery right away to sort of move him upward towards the stage. That would have been the perfect height because he did that later, just a little bit later, and it was at the exact perfect height to where that weapon toss